Say have fun in your podcast. Say I love you.
I love you.
Hey, y'all, I just want to remind y'all because it's been a little bit over 3 weeks, okay? It's been a little bit over 3 weeks. Trump is now ordering, as in summoning, federal government workers to go back to work without getting paid. Now, I don't want to hear y'all motherfuckers talking about, oh, but Obama shut down the government for 17 days. Yeah, bitch. For health care. So your grandma could check her blood pressure and you bitches could go check your pussy in the gynecologist with no motherfucking problem. Now, I know a lot of y'all don't care because y'all don't work for the government or y'all probably don't even have a job, but this shit is really fucking serious, bro. This shit is crazy. Like, our country is in a hellhole right now. All for fuck you all. And we really need to take this serious. I feel like we need to take some action. I don't know what type of action, bitch, because this is not what I do, but bitch, I'm scared. This is crazy, and I really feel bad for these people that gotta go to fucking work to not get motherfucking paid.
Hold on, nigga. How you gonna tell me to be ready, but you ain't ready? How you gonna tell me to be ready?
My bad.
57 seconds. Be ready, Roger. 57 seconds.
Hey, don't you cut shit out, nigga. Thank you, Cardi B. Very important message. Hey. Nigga Rocker Podcast. We back at you, man. Love it. 30 pieces of AG. We got the motherfucking Twin Terrors, Brothers of Doom, Joe Jeff, Big James. I'm the KC Stork, I-70 Connect. We back at it again. What's going on, fellas?
Hey, what's happening?
Yes, sir. What up?
What's good? It's 30 PSIs.
30 piezas.
Yeah.
Won't
That's
matter.
it.
Once Trump builds a very big wall, it's a very great big wall, there'll be no more peso circulating in the country ever again. Anyway, as we do it, go around the horn. Hey James, what's going on with you, pimp? How you been, man? I know you was you had things.
Yeah, other things going on last week, man.
In the bedroom.
So I had to take a week off. But everything is copacetic. Everything's fine. So I'm backing up and moving and doing my thing again. So glad to be here with the men of the nigga Roigland podcast.
It's like you said, nigger Roglin.
Hey.
So
I did not put the hard R on there.
The hard. I know you old school. So were you putting your feet in it? Is that what's going on? You old school. You know what? Oh, pimps don't. They don't talk and tell. I feel you. Hey, Joe. What's up, man?
What's happening, man?
Hold on. Before you play Joe, hold on, Joe. Joe, hold on.
Like a nigga, it's like at a house party, everybody then coupled up. Then they went to their corner, and then Frank come in and be like, "Hey, what you bitches really do for a couple dollars?" And it's just fuck the whole mood up.
Right.
It's just fuck the whole mood up. Everybody then coupled up. Everybody in their respective corners, loving respectively. You just come in with the horns and the fucking sound bites.
You got to stop.
Like a bad DJ at a good party, man.
You either got to stop or you got to get better with the drop.
Right.
Because you, if I said James, you know what? We ain't gonna beat you up. I love you. Frank, I love you. I love you, bro.
Shots fired!
Oh man,
this nigga dog. You like a bad kid, nigga. As soon as I give you love, you go out and you just fuck up again. Anyway, what's up, Frank? What's going on, 30 pieces? What's going on, pimp?
Not much, bro. There's a lot going on.
Hold on, Frank. Boom.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Let me think about something. Blah, 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 blah. He's on fire.
James is not amused by any of this. Hey, there you go. That's perfect. That was perfect. I don't know. I shouldn't encourage it though. Anyway, nigga, how you been?
No, pretty good. I mean, for being a federal employee, I am doing pretty well right now. But I know that it dawned on me this morning that I know last week was the first week that most of the federal employees that are affected by the shutdown missed their first actual paycheck. And if they're still on furloughed or shut down or whatever, today was the end of the pay period, or tomorrow is the end of the pay period. So they're so even though it'll be next Friday, they'll get paid. If they weren't working or furloughed or they were still affected by the shutdown as of today or even as of this podcast, they're missing another check. So the new pay period starts on Sunday. So hopefully, if they could call people back in and start paying them on Sunday, they won't miss a third paycheck. So, but with Trumpito, I mean, I'd have to say with Cardi B did she knows her lane. She knows this is not her arena, but she voiced her opinion, and I think for the most part, all of us agree with what she had to say. So, I don't know. I just want to emphasize that this on this recording that there will be another check missed. So regardless of what the media says,
and everyone has heard us on here before disagree with who should be the leader as far as the Democratic Party, but we all went out and did our thing and voted. So fuck anybody that voted for Trump. I doubt that there would be any Trump listeners listening, but if you are the one nigga out there listening, fuck you. There we go. That's all I got to say. As for myself, what happened? Casey Stewart.
Frank, you better be glad nobody else got a mute button, man.
Nigga, mute your ass, nigga. But yeah, it's all good. Life's good. Let's get on and cracking, man. So what we got first up on the docket.
So basically, what's been going on this whole week, it's been kind of not necessarily a slow week. It's just been more of like the shutdown oriented and this and that.
Is somebody playing Yahtzee right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
You ain't know?
Okay.
I mean, we could introduce the new. Okay, thank you, Joe. Anyhow, so basically,
No, the fuck you didn't. Hold up.
I didn't mute you. That wasn't me.
Everyone focus.
See, I told you. Everybody has access to everybody's shit.
No, we don't.
Yes, you do.
What are we doing?
I haven't muted anyone. So
Who did that?
I didn't do that.
I don't know why they do it.
Okay. Anyhow, so basically what we've been talking about, obviously the thing in the media right now, in the political world and this current news is the shutdown, right? But there's been so I was a lot of things have been coming out off of what Mueller is doing and this and that, and I just posted a sincere question. I didn't really meant anything by it. I was just really trying to understand, and really. Like I don't know about you guys, but I know that like when you text something, when you message something, it's usually taken out of context, and you don't really have like a good.
What is that? What are we?
All right, so
nigga, is somebody sewing?
That was Joe. I muted him.
Which one of you niggas is whittling a horse right now, nigga?
He's gonna have to unmute himself though.
God damn it.
Joe, if you're listening to this, you're going to have to unmute yourself.
Is this nigga putting together a rector set in the middle of the podcast?
What are y'all talking about? If I'm on mute, what's the problem?
No,
you weren't on mute.
You weren't on mute at first, though.
Yeah, we could hear you, whatever you were doing.
I'm not doing nothing. I'm sitting here.
Bro, everybody else has a camera. No one had ice chips.
Do you have like headphones that
Oh, right, yeah.
No, I got the earbuds on. I'm not doing anything.
Okay, so I don't know. My bad if it wasn't you, but it definitely sounded like a nigga's putting together a small kid's toy.
Or scratching or something like that.
I don't know what's happening.
I don't know. Guy, we gotta get focused and pressure through this. It's like just get.
I feel we try to get focused, but it sounds like somebody.
A lot of distractions.
I'm like, it's hard to focus, pimp. That's all I'm trying to say. Saying at the same time.
All right, 3. So we were talking about. There's a lot of stuff going on with the shutdown, this and that. But I posted a question about: is Mueller looking for collusion, or is he looking for a crime? And so that sparked a lot of the thoughts and ideas. I'm still rather confused. I don't know about everybody else. I'll let James start off and see how if he could explain it to me a little bit better. I'm not trying to be problematic or anything like that. I'm just trying to understand, because if I'm confused, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one out there, especially someone that's not necessarily keeping an ear to everything that's going on. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, so what can you
let me put it in the context of the reason Rudy Giuliani is okay with saying that there was some collusion, not by the president, but he's saying that there might be some collusion, is because he's thinking in legalese terms. Collusion is not a specific legal term. That is not something that's not. If you look for crimes or things that you can convict someone or indict someone on, you won't find collusion in there because it's a very general term. Now with collusion and that leads to a crime is more what we're talking about here. You're colluding, and in the process of your collusion, you commit a crime. So collusion itself, just saying there's collusion, if you say that, it's not considered a crime. So what are you talking about? That's what Rudy's playing a word game with that, basically. That's why he's willing to so freely admit that there might have been some collusion, but that's not a crime. So what are you talking about? But very close to that is conspiracy. Conspiracy, you won't hear him say conspiracy, because that is a crime every time.
All right, I'm glad you shared that. But hold on, before you say that, I should have played this clip before, James. But I'm glad you went before it, though. Let me play it real quick. Let it load.
The amount of false reporting about this case is despicable.
Mr. Mayor, false reporting is saying that nobody in the campaign had any contacts with Russia. False reporting is saying that there has been no suggestion of any kind of collusion between the campaign and any Russians. Because now you have Paul Manafort giving poll data that winds up leading to this coincidence.
Well, you just misstated my position. I never said there was no collusion between the campaign or between people in the campaign.
Yes,
I have no idea if I have not. I said the President of the United States. There is not a single bit of evidence the President of the United States committed the only crime you could commit here, conspired with the Russians to hack the DNC.
First of all, crime is not the bar of accountability for a president. It's about what you knew, what was right and what was wrong, and what did you deceive about. Those are going to be major considerations.
The president did not.
He said nobody had any contact. Tons of people had contact. Nobody colluded. The guy running his campaign
he didn't say
was
nobody.
Working on an issue at the same time as the convention.
He said he didn't. He didn't say nobody. How would you know that nobody in your campaign?
He actually did say that, Rudy. He said
nobody,
and then he said, as far as I know.
He said it in well, as far as he knows, that's true.
I don't know how you trust a nigga with wooden teeth.
So go ahead, James. Not after playing the video, I wanted you to explain.
Right, you heard him say the only crime here could be conspiracy with Russia to rig the election. He specifically said what the actual the term that would be used that you could actually convict someone on would be conspiracy. That's really what the point. It gets muddy and all that sort of thing. But if you walk into a court of law, you're gonna say it's conspiracy, or it's just collusion is just not a listed crime on a list of things that you would indict someone on. That's really what it is.
Okay, let me play this other video then. This is Senator Coons. I believe he's a Democratic senator. So let's see what he has to say about it. This was before Giuliani's soundbite.
To like Frank's question, he asked like collusion and conspiracy, and it's like the simple answer is yes, because as the American public, we don't speak in legalese terms. But James made a very important topic as far as like when you go into a courtroom, what is a lawyer going to try to convince?
And that's what Rudy's talking like a lawyer.
Yeah,
and that's why he's saying collusion is not a crime.
Right. Because even like even
he's thinking like a lawyer.
Yeah, I guess even our debate in our chat group at the end. I think we all think collusion is bad, is a crime, but like I think me and James started talking about as far as like what can you get this motherfucker hung up on, and collusion ain't the answer.
Wait, sorry about that. I have the soundbite ready. So again, this is Senator Kuhn, a Democratic senator. So let's see what he has to say. This was back in December 14th, 2018.
What do you make of the confusion over collusion?
Well, I think it's perfectly clear in federal law. In fact, I've got the statute with me. It's Title 52, Section 30121, that says it is a crime to solicit or accept anything of value from a foreign national in order to influence the outcome of a federal election. It's a longer section. I'm taking a sentence here and there, but that's the outcome. That's what it means. You can't accept or solicit a cash contribution or a thing of value from a foreign national in any way related to a federal, state, or local election. That's clearly a crime. And elsewhere in the criminal code, conspiring in order to commit a crime like that is also itself the crime of conspiracy. So while I'm not using the specific word collusion, I'll remind you what the whole Mueller investigation is about is whether or not the Trump campaign worked with Russian intelligence officers to solicit or accept a thing of significant value, thousands of hacked emails that might have been used in order to determine the outcome or influence the outcome of the federal presidential election.
Quid pro quo. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, but even in that video, he's talking about conspiracy and bribery, man.
Right.
Or like James said, quid pro quo, this for that. So even he recognizes that collusion in his own video when they're supposed to be like, no, he colluded. Even he says collusion is so murky that I won't use that term, but I will use the term conspiracy, which has a definite answer. And also even our own chat group, we talk about treason and things like that, which have a definitive answer as far as articles which define it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I guess just to clarify it a little bit better now, James and Joe, it's just one of those things that I really just wanted to get clarity. I wasn't trying to be problematic or anything on the messenger. It was just because because I was amongst other groups that were using that term collusion. That's what Mueller is trying to find, collusion with the Russians. And so for me, it's like, okay, well,
and that's what I was trying to say too. That's what like you keep hearing parroted by Trump. That's all. There's no collusion. There's no collusion. There's no collusion. So everybody's like, oh, he's scared of collusion. But even Trump doesn't really know what it's all about. He just knows that he thinks collusion is a bad thing, so he just doesn't want to be associated with it. It's like, oh, that's bad.
I think so. Yeah, but also I think it also goes to just more muddying of the water when it comes to all these. And like I know we got our CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all that shit, and I'm supposed to believe that they're all different and not. They're all different, but don't somehow benefit from each other. And they're all using the same terminology when it comes to this case, though. So it's like it's this muddying of the water to where even if you're just a basic layman, you have above average intelligence. No, you're like, what is collusion? What is conspiracy? What's the difference? Yeah, I believe that he was talking to the Russians. Why can't we just arrest him and send him to jail? Because like when we hear these videos and we talk about it, collusion within itself isn't necessarily a crime, but did you collude and take a bribe? Did you collude and have an act of treason? Did you quid pro quo, like James said? These are specific legal definitions that fall under things which you did while you were colluding with what we call an enemy agent. But just saying collusion within itself is not something that a lawyer can
because really
easily.
Collusion is really like working with someone.
Yeah,
right.
But it's usually you're colluding to do something that was unethical.
It's like mob bosses, dog. They don't get them niggas on all the murders and all that shit. They get you on like tax evasion
or racketeering.
Racketeering laws.
So then what I'm hearing from you guys is so we already established on our chat group that collusion is not a legal term. It's not a legal term that you can use to charge somebody with a crime. We've established that, right?
Because there's no such charge as collusion.
Right. We've established that. So,
right.
But conspiracy is an actual crime because so collusion, like James said earlier, it's just basically working with somebody. Doesn't necessarily have to be nothing bad, but it does have a negative connotation.
Well, no, usually it's usually something. It's usually something that is.
It is usually used as a bad, nefarious term.
That's what I said. Like it has a negative connotation to it. It's not
above board collusion. It's not like we work together on a project for the company.
It's not like me.
It's something where people don't know that me and you are working together and we're trying to achieve something in an underhanded way.
Yeah, no one says every Friday we collude to make this podcast.
Right.
But then the word conspiracy is an actual legal term that is used and can be a charge, can be something that you can bring charges on. Because then if you look at the definition of conspiracy, then it's not only broad, but it's specific. Because then it's specific.
It's called conspiracy to commit a crime.
Right. Conspiracy, conspiring. Wait, what is it? Conspiring with a foreign.
To commit a crime.
But step outside of this though, like with the FBI and all these like people who were like who the FBI, like to some people say they got caught up as far as some of these crimes where they conspired with enemy agents to create a bomb. So like back, like 4 or 5 years ago, that was the latest craze where the FBI they were going to these chat rooms and basically saying, "Hey guy, I hear you're a radical. You want to make a bomb?" So they would catch them up and say these people they didn't have an actual bomb, but they were conspiring to create a bomb to basically create confusion, whatever the fuck, in the United States.
So I'm glad that we cleared that up. We cleared the collusion versus conspiracy. As far as like chargeable offenses, right? Criminal offenses.
Right? Yeah.
At least we cleared that up. And before we continue, Joe, what do you have to say on that topic, the collusion versus conspiracy aspect of it?
Collusion's a crime.
Okay. This is your platform.
It may not be in the legal code. Guys, I've officiated basketball games, and I remember there was an official who came over to me, and it cracked me up. Somebody got fouled. He came over to me at the bench. He said, "Number 3 on the arm with the hack." Nobody says, when the official comes over, they usually don't say that you got hacked, but that's the term that we know. Hey, I got fouled. I got hacked. You know what I'm saying? That's a term that we all know is illegal.
Yeah, but that's an accepted term.
But it's not the term. It's not the term.
It means foul though. Everyone says you a hack.
But you're not. Exactly. That's what I'm saying to you. But it's not in the rule book. It doesn't say hack in the rule book. But we all know it to be a hack. That's what I'm saying to you. It's the same thing here with collusion and conspiracy.
But a basketball court is not a court of law.
I know.
What the fuck are we talking about? What the fuck? It's an analogy. What the fuck are we doing, guys?
It's a bad analogy.
Well, I mean, it is a perfect analogy. We're talking about what's written in the book versus what people say.
I feel you.
Collusion is a fucking crime. Well, okay, it's a bad analogy. I'll stop talking then.
No, don't stop talking. We still love you, Joe. Don't do that.
Well, I mean, I'm done with that shit. I'm saying to you, I told you.
I don't know why you're getting so upset about it.
Because it is upsetting.
Joe, you're so passionate, Joe.
It is upsetting. That's why I'm saying to you. I agree. Y'all got to come back on me.
But if the thing is to clarify and to make it real to people, the thing is if the average person believes that this motherfucker gonna go to jail because of collusion, you fucking you out of your mind.
Okay, but
most people hold on, Frank. And most people that go to basketball games know a hack and a foul are the same thing. But it's obvious that most people don't know collusion and conspiracy are different.
Right.
That's all I'm saying, Joe. That's all I'm saying, bro. I get your analogy.
The only reason I even said that was to explain why Rudy Giuliani said, well, collusion isn't a crime, because in his legal world, it's not.
in the day, the legal world is what I think we all agree. This motherfucker, yeah, he has colluded. He has done some shit.
Right, and we're
with
not
an
saying
agent.
there hasn't been collusion.
No, I agree, but I'm saying if I don't know, he may have. I don't know. He's passionate, but if we gonna get this nigga on some charges, collusion ain't gonna be the key.
No.
Well, okay.
Collusion. If you keep pushing for collusion, which they trying to do, he gonna get off.
Yeah, it's he colluded in the commission of an actual crime, but you're still not. Yeah, it's collusion is it could be the.
So then would that
it's
okay,
a term,
so,
but it's not. It's just not. It's not collusion. It's not a
so
crime. That's why they
so
say it.
here's okay. So I guess this is where the confusion started, and I'm Joe left, but hopefully we get him back on. But so like for example, like I used the word collusion.
Hey! So did we add him to he was the mad section?
Oh, he was mad.
He was mad.
Oh, he was mad.
Anyway.
Hey Joe, hey nigga. I wish we could have muted your mic, nigga. You laughing at me, nigga. I'm laughing at you right now. You gonna get off
But
the
anyways,
podcast?
so like I was saying, Lo. So I guess to me, in my mindset, collusion is what's gonna bring me to investigate you, right? But then the collusion turns into conspiracy.
It doesn't have to necessarily turn to conspiracy.
No, it's not like that.
It could be another crime.
Could be bribery. It could be
bribery. It could be campaign.
Well, in this case,
campaign,
because
campaign
Russia's
finance
a foreign
thing,
enemy.
you know.
Well, what I'm saying is like,
where the payoffs to that's like collusion in order to commit a campaign finance violation.
But I think the very important thing is, why are we getting hung up on the word collusion? Why are we even?
That's what I was trying, and that's what I keep trying to say. Just let collusion go. Let's not get you so stuck on that word. Let it go. Let's talk about the actual crime.
This motherfucker conspired.
We're talking about conspiracy
to hijack an election,
right? To influence, to influence the election, and that sort of thing.
Top of that,
let's get that.
Yeah, and on top of that, what Cohen is saying, Cohen is saying he paid out a bribe to a tech agency to also influence an election. Right. Let's use the words. We have the words. We have the terminology. We have Google. We can find these words. That's what's happening. These are very specific legal terms that we need to use, because when you deal with motherfuckers who want to use collusion, whatever the fuck, and I'm not saying that's what Joe was doing, but there are people out there who want to excuse what he's doing, and they want to say, well, they can't prove collusion, and it's like, okay, but he ain't up on collusion charges. He's up on conspiracy charges. He's up on maybe down the line treason charges.
Could be right. Could be treason,
a bribery charge.
Sedition. Right.
Yeah, because his lawyer saying, I was instructed to pay money to an agency to influence an election. That's a bribe.
Right, and that's I guess that's what I was trying to get at, and that's what, when I read that article that Cohen, at the direction of Trump, was told to pay poll data to rig the poll data. A tech company or whatnot, but that's what I was trying to get at. It's like, okay, right.
But that's not collusion though.
So Mueller's investigation, and this is, and the reason why I bring this up is because collusion is the common phrase or word that is being used around amongst groups. We're not using the word conspire yet because there's no hard evidence.
But
yet.
you're not hearing that from the Mueller team.
Right. Yeah. True. That is true.
And that's who counts. And you're not hearing that from the Southern District of New York.
True.
Nope. Those are the people that count. And those are the ones that are putting words
together. Like tax evasion, tax fraud.
Right. From Mueller and from the Southern District of New York, you're using legal terms and actual charges.
Correct.
So, that's what we need to focus on, actual charges.
When you're a lawyer that's trying to bring
that's good. James. Let's put it this way. Collusion is not a charge. It doesn't exist as a charge. So how are you going to convict someone on something that is not a legal charge? I don't know how much more simpler to put it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the things that you can actually be charged about.
And I hear what Joe is saying,
Right.
But I think
But he
that's
can't.
what.
And I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but you can't put it in the context of a
No,
basketball game.
no. But that's what I'm saying though. But no, I'm saying I hear what Joe was saying, but I'm saying, but like
Yeah.
we need. But I think we need. Someone should have told that ref, "Hey, you mean foul, not hack, right?" But hack and foul. You go to any pickup game in America, somebody gonna say you hacked me. Everybody knows that's foul. But you're not gonna go to just some random, I don't know, pre-law. I guess would that be the equivalent? Some pre-law fucking undergrad school and be like collusion conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? It won't be accepted as the same term.
Okay,
No.
so we had a chance to all discuss what we actually meant. So, but on this platform, we have to give everybody has a voice, and without interruption, please, without interruption, let Joe say his piece, how he feel, because it is important. At least for me, it is. It is important to capture how everybody else feels about this. So with that, Joe, what more would you have to add to this? I mean, because I value your opinion. Anyhow, like I said, I mean, I think we'll close out this segment. We'll move on to the next one. Like I said,
I think the biggest thing to take away from this is that we all agree that any of the people who listen to our show agree that Trump's a piece of shit, and there are definitely some legal things that need to take place to get this motherfucker up out the office. But if we disagree on the term, that might be one thing or whatever. And I think that's where we're at. We disagree on the term used, but we all agree on this show that there is some wrongdoing going on in his cabinet.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the issue that I have with everything that we said and we found out is that if the media is talking about collusion, not necessarily conspiracy or anything like that, because of media at the end of the day, it's still allegations. But
you gotta look at the media yet. Though they until there are charges brought.
Well, Roger, I get that, but most people
they have to use these broad terms,
right? But most people consume their media, the information through medias, and I get that it shouldn't be that way. But that's if you talk to the common Joe person, they're gonna you're gonna hear the word collusion more than conspiracy.
Right, that's what we're talking about, though, right? What I'm saying is, it's like when the media talks about, we all agree that we all believe that R. Kelly did this shit, right? Mm-hmm. But when they talk about it, they say allegedly still, right?
Right.
Because there's no court of law where he's been convicted of a crime, right?
Right, and so in this case, collusion is the equivalence of allegations.
Correct.
Okay, so that being said, going back to something that you've always said before is, if we're still talking about in 2019, after everything that's popped up around his administration,
but 2019.
But if we're still talking about collusion and nothing directly implicating the Trump, this man's gonna win 2020, bro.
What I believe is, I say he's either gonna win, or what's gonna happen is he's gonna get a no plea, whatever the fuck the legal term is. Basically, get some agreement where it won't be talked about, and he just goes off to the sunset. But when I told you that in chat, that's what I meant when I said it's not going to look the way you think.
Well, I think we discussed that. I think even Joe brought that up, that it's not going to be out in the public. It's going to be a backdoor agreement, a sealed document that maybe like
Correct.
10
right. 10, and as the when they start looking into the money. Because it always comes to the money, right? When we talk about like mob bosses, it's the not the bodies, not niggas who get killed or shot. It comes to the money, right. And when niggas start looking at the money, that's when you get called up at. Because the federal government is good about one thing: following the money, because they want their money from you.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And then okay, so going on to our not necessarily our closely related, it's still in politics, but talking about the government. So we've all realized that a certain news organization out here has had somewhat.
Just say Fox News, nigga.
I was gonna say, why are you
I'm just trying to I'm just trying to protect the sponsorship dollars. You know what I mean? Like,
nigga, I don't want to be sponsored. Nigga, hold on, man. If you fuck with Fox, I don't want none of your money. There we go.
If you worried about Fox,
listen. If you're gonna pay me $10 million, dog, hey,
of the show contributor, I don't want none of your money.
Anyhow, so we talk about. So we mentioned that, last week that there was a deal in place before Tank went on to Fox News or heard Fox News anchors like bash him about it, and then the next day he totally reneged on his original position of signing the bill or whatnot. And today, Friday at 11:12 p.m., January 18, we find ourselves in the shutdown, which potentially is the second check that is going to be missed by federal employees that are being affected. And there was an article or a video here that I'm going to play next that says what role has Fox played in the shutdown. And so I'm going to play this now, and then we'll get some commentary, okay?
To shut down government. It is actually the case that Fox is responsible for the shutdown because they are that inside of Trump's head.
He has to be willing to shut down the government.
And there are a lot of layers to this. The first piece, which is maybe the most astounding, surprising even in the Alice in Wonderland times in which we live, is that President Trump had agreed to a deal to fund the government. Passed the Senate unanimously. All the Republicans voted for it. Everybody understood that Trump was ready to sign the deal and the government was going to stay open. Fox started attacking the deal.
A shutdown is exactly what we need.
Trump saw that he was being attacked for being weak.
If there's not a shutdown, he's going to look like a loser.
And he reneged on the deal that he'd entered into and then said no funding for the government unless they get the money for the wall. Trump is so much dependent on Fox, both for his news and what he thinks is important, that he changed his position because he's being called out by commentators on Fox.
He shuts down the government. Is that a good result?
Yes.
I think, absolutely.
Okay.
It's been the case that on Fox, this idea that, well, the government doesn't really matter. Nobody really cares.
Shutting down the government, and who's going to notice?
There are a lot of people on Fox who are good TV personalities and unbelievably ignorant about everything they're talking about.
You could shut down half of the government agencies, and literally it would be years, if it were not for the media, it would be years before the regular person, the normal, average, working American would even know that the department had been shut down.
There you go, there you go, folks. I mean, that's been really was what happened. That's really the reason why we're here right now, is because we have a president that got influenced by somebody. In this case, Fox News. We have two anchors,
and it's not just this particular instance. Trump's policies are regularly influenced by what the commentators say on Fox News.
Well, no, I referenced the shutdown. I mean, we find ourselves in this shutdown right now because he listens to those voices. And don't get me wrong, Trump is he's a frequenter of Fox News, calls in randomly or whatnot, or I use air quotes, randomly.
Yeah, that's his comfort zone. That's the only place he'll do interviews.
But shout out to Steve Shapiro, still holding down, like, I guess, the last bit of journalism that's happening. He's like, Steve Shapiro is like one of the last ones that he calls out his bluff. You know what I mean?
Who was Steve? I'm not familiar with Steve Shapiro.
Shapiro is the one that he'll call out Trump on Fox News. Like, if he legit said like the stats, he was the first one to call him out on the stats.
I thought that was Shep Smith.
Shep Smith, my bad. Why did I say Shapiro?
Yeah, I'm like,
my bad. Shepard Smith. I'm tripping. Damn, my
Shep Smith.
Shepard Smith. That's right.
And Wallace has started doing it too.
Yeah. There's a trend, but just so you guys know, Fox Corporation is being bought by ABC or Disney, but Fox News itself is gonna still exist. Everything else, all the other medias, are gonna be purchased and bought by Disney, which that means the sports, entertainment, animation, everything but the news site, the news organization. So, but I don't know. I mean, they could be setting themselves up for something down the road, but Shepard Smith always been, I could honestly say that he's been kind of like that middle of the road guy. Yes, he has some hard right ideas, but he'll say bullshit. He'll call bullshit when it's bullshit.
I got you. But let's kind of like stay focused here. What's happening here is that the president of the United States is not taking his advice or on policy of his decisions from his advisors or people that are in the know. He's taking them for people on television shows who really have no idea what they're talking about. And the rest of the country is suffering because of it. This is a problem. When the president of the United States he won't listen to his own advisors and the people he's supposed to be putting around him that tell him how to move on certain policy decisions, but he's listening to guys on a TV show. I mean, what are we doing here? What's the country? How does the country survive this? And you heard what they said about, you could shut down half the government and no one would notice for years. Wrong. People notice right away.
No, we noticed
People
right away.
felt it right away.
Just so everybody knows, this is a partial shutdown, so it's not a complete government shutdown. Just some agencies that they happen on this cycle that happen to come up on funding. So I think it was only 2 agencies. So it's not like every agency out there.
But it's still 800,000 workers are affected by this.
Yeah, that's still 800.
Let's not minimize it.
Right, no, it's not, because that's 800. That's 800 paychecks that are not being paid.
Right.
That's 800,
and there are people that are actually they're working for free.
Right, and that's 800 mortgages that are not going to get paid. Mortgages or rent.
And you got, and it's hitting. It's TSA. It's the Coast Guard. Yeah. It's my company relies on small business loans. The SBA is shut down right now. Right. We can't renew our business loans so we can buy new inventory. We're stuck.
Right.
Until the shutdown is over, and or we might have to take out a loan with a different loan with twice the interest rate because of this.
Right.
So I mean, hey, regular everyday people are feeling it, from the workers to regular everyday people. People getting their Section 8 payments may not get those.
Weekend welfare, Medicaid.
Yeah, let's say welfare, food stamps. There's stores that aren't taking food stamps right now.
Yeah, because
so
it's trickling down.
It's not true. They lie. I mean, Fox News they lie all the time.
Right.
And it's all about pushing an agenda. And you know what? None of these people that work at Fox News are affected by this. So they don't care.
And here's the other thing.
They do it for the ratings. They do it for the money.
And here's the other thing. The White House administration came out earlier this week saying that they underestimated the impact of the shutdown, what the shutdown would have.
On the economy.
On the economy, or on actual federal workers, because they probably assumed that, oh, look, this is Democrats are going to give in to this and that, whatever. And they also thought that everybody could be furloughed. When you're furloughed, you could actually come to work and not be paid. So that's what they were banking on, but not everybody, because then they had to go back and redefine what essential personnels were. Because then once they redefined what essential personnels were, then they included more people. So now those people that were either on leave so that they could still get a paycheck, or at home on leave, then now they could come. They were classified as essential personnel, so now they could come back and work, but they're working for free essentially. That's what happened with IRS and everybody else on DFAS that was affected by it. So they weren't deemed essential personnel. Now they are, but they're working for free though, and in the hopes of getting retroactively back pay.
Right.
So again, the shutdown underestimated. I understand the position that Joe had last week of there's no way that Trump is going to get off this off his strongest point. Or negotiating tactic, but at the same time, you have.
Well, we know. I mean, we know what the real solution is, but there's somebody blocking it. The real solution, and I think you said this. Everybody said this earlier, that you send that bill to the president, you make him veto it, and you come back and you override his veto. But the person that's blocking that is in the Senate, and that's Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, and McConnell
because he already knows that Trump looks weak already, and this is going to make him look weaker, and he'll be hell to deal with. If they undercut Trump, you think he's bad, out of control now? Hey,
Yeah.
it's gonna be that much worse. But maybe that's what we got to do.
But here's the thing that we got into last week is these are separate branches that are supposed to be separate but equal. So if the president is unfit, I use that word loosely, but if he's unfit and right now he's already said that there's a soundbite that he wants to build this wall and that hopefully one day they put his name on there and say Trump wall. I'm like, that's your ego. You're feeding your ego right now.
It's a total ego trip.
When actual people are being really affected. Like today, like 2 days ago, I shared with you guys my TSP, which is my retirement plan. In the last 12 months, for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been gradually averaging a 12 to 30% gain. This last 12 months, I've lost minus 10%, which a little bit over 10%.
Yeah,
so I've lost over $4,000.
That's the stock market. The stock market was riding really high for a long time, higher than it normally should. So there's got to be a correction,
right?
And but it does get influenced by things that happen in government,
right?
Too.
But I say that because every month in the last 12 months, I've lost money. Though President Tang, 45, touts that everybody's 401k plans are doing well, and in fact they're not.
But Trump doesn't know what he's talking about ever.
I get that, but I'm just
he makes up things as he goes along.
Right,
I think that needs to be established that Trump has no real knowledge of these things. He just makes up things as he goes along. He just lies and lies and lies, and he relies on the ignorance of the public to not do their own research to make himself look good. And the fact that people don't do their own research and are not informed voters and an informed public. He feeds on that. He relies on that.
Well, we know most Fox watchers are not informed. They just listen to
they
Fox
don't want
News.
it. And the thing is, they don't want to be informed. They just want somebody that supports their worldview, whether it be correct or factual or not. And he fulfills that for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he's ruining lives, literally.
He is, and like I said, I mean, I just like I said, I mean, my whole thing about the collusion and all that stuff, it was just for me to get clarity because that even talking to people outside of like work and like when I bowl, when I go out to dinner or with other friends, like mingle with them, there was just some clarity that I needed to happen that I just presented to the group, and I'm glad that I shared it with you guys because.
Yeah, no,
everybody presenting a strong case for everything. Even Joe and I'm hoping that we get the final thoughts from Joe on this segment before we move on to the next one. I'll give him a chance now. Joe, any last thoughts on this segment or the shutdown or anything that you would want to mention without interruption?
Fox News is their fault. Donald Trump's their fault. Mitch McConnell's their fault. A lot of people are at fault.
Okay, I dig that. All right, so we'll end the political talk on that one, and now we're gonna go into our next segment. Okay, hey James, I know you were off last week, but you have put a story on. I'm not gonna play the video because basically there's no audio, but you could probably expand on it or whatnot. So go ahead.
Yeah, I believe it's in Milwaukee or something like that, Wisconsin, and a bus driver is driving along on her route, and she sees a 2-year-old basically running down the sidewalk alone by themselves. So, I mean, she just basically stops the bus, jumps out, grabs the child before the child wanders into traffic, and it's just one of those moments that got caught on tape, and it was just a good moment, and it was shocking at the same time to see like a 2-year-old wandering down the street unaccompanied with no adult or anywhere around, and the child just looking confused and dazed and not knowing what's going on. And she did a very good thing by taking that child and taking care of the child until someone could come along and retrieve him or her. So it was just a really good story. You know, we talk about so many negative things. It's good to see something positive. It's something positive that came out of something that could have been, it was negative and it could have been potentially dangerous for that baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm not trying to poke any jokes or fun on this, but I'm glad that she did what she saw something and acted upon it, without even like a second thought or whatnot. But just looking at this video, and I mentioned this before, it's like it's amazing how many vehicles pass by this wandering 2-year-old child in freezing temperatures, but now one of them stopped, and it took a bus driver that was like, I think it looked like she was like a block away or 2 blocks away or the last stop. Granted, though, I mean, and here's the thing, though, like, we always say, hey, if you see something, do something, right? And it's easier said than done. But in this case, she actually did that. She saw something wrong, and it didn't sit well with her, and she did something. What was the one thing that she could do? Go after and get the baby, bring it into a safe area, warm them up, and then ask him what was going on. So kudos to the bus driver on that one. So to Milwaukee's, I think her name is Irena. And by the way, she has a not a speech impediment, but she's you could tell that she's not American born or American raised.
Right.
She was I would fair to say she's an immigrant. I don't know if she's illegal or legal, but nonetheless,
she's driving a city bus. So that's your answer. You can't drive a city bus if you're an illegal immigrant.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
I mean, you don't take my word for it. That's pretty much you have to have a certain license to drive the bus, and there's all kind of requirements. So you got to be legal.
Cool. All right, and then that was just our feel good story. Hey, Joe, do you have any thoughts on that? Any input?
No. Nice story.
All right, and then now we're going to something that James wanted to discuss is the jewelry thief. I'm gonna step away and I'm gonna let you guys talk about this one. All right? All right. Is there a video on this that you guys want me to play first?
Nah, there's no video. I don't think. Okay. Basically, the story is this guy I think is in Miami, I believe. I know it's in Florida. So there it is. Florida shows up again. A guy goes to the club. He meets this woman. They go back to his hotel room, and he goes to the bathroom and leaves her there in the room by herself. Basically, when he comes out of the bathroom, she's taken off, and he had a bag of watches, Rolex watches, in his room, and that's gone now. So he runs out of the hotel, chases her down the street, catches her. I believe she's trying to catch a cab at the time. So he's kind of tussling with her, fighting with her. Police get involved. He only finds one watch though. He gets one watch back. So he's like, I don't know what happened to the watches. The rest of the watches. I followed her. She couldn't have dumped them or anything like that. If she did, I didn't see her do it. So once they get it to the police department and they do a search, they find the watches, and you can guess where they found them. Where would that be? In her vagina. That is correct. She has shoved the other four
in her woman purse.
In her woman purse, she has stuffed the other 4 watches into her vagina. In total, those watches were worth $108,000. So, and the other part was there was a clue that this might not be the person that you wanted to hook up with and take to your hotel and leave unattended, because tattooed on her arm is the word whore. WHORE, whore. So that's a red flag as far as I'm concerned. So that's just the story.
I mean, she might just be a dedicated worker.
Well, I'm sure she is, because she is a prostitute. I'm sure she's dedicated to her craft.
As I said, man, blood diamonds, man, very bad African trade. We're not talking about that right now. We're not talking about blood.
Hey, whatever, brother. I didn't hear about Leonardo DiCaprio being involved in this in any measure.
He might have been in there in the vagina. I ain't heard since his last movie. I ain't heard back from him. He might be in there.
Yeah, was it Jaimin Hansu?
Yeah,
Mr. Give us free.
Give us a three. Give us a three.
So yeah, that's it.
All right, so that's enough of the Rolexes and the vagina. Rolex, never mind. It passed for everybody. So we go on to the next one. Joe, any thoughts on the Rolexes and the vagina?
Rolex and the coochie.
I have no thoughts on Rolexes and pussies, man.
Would you wear a Rolex that was in a coochie? I guess a no answer is a no answer.
That's probably a no.
Okay. So we go on to the next one. And we talk about Rogers shared this video, this delightful video, and I'll play it. And then I'll then I'll let the Ratchet Roger
Nigga, why gotta be Ratchet Roger?
Because
is that a dance? The Ratchet Roger?
It might be after this one.
It might be. It might be a new dance.
Kids, new dance coming.
Do the Ratchet Roger.
Trump face, baby. Yeah, shut down Americana. Yeah, I want to see you shut down. Shut down Americana. Shut down Americana. I want to see you shut down. Pick it up, now break that shit down. Shut it down. Speed it up, now break that shit down on the damn. Shut it, shut it, shut it, shut it, shut it, shut it, shut it down on the damn. Shut it down, Americana. Shut it down, Americana. I want to see you shut down. Pick it up, now break that shit down. Shut it down. Speed it up, now slow that shit down on the damn. Shut it, shut it, shut it, shut it, shut it, shut it, shut it down on the damn.
All right, shut it down.
I don't really think that's really done justice unless you actually see the video too.
Yeah, and I will make sure that this link is shared on there so you can happily see this.
Right.
But go ahead. Why did you share this video, Roger, again?
Just cause I don't know. Cause it was funny and sad at the same time. We start to see this thing where people begin to make fun of this fuckery that's known as President Trump and this whole administration. And so we get into this very dangerous area. It's like, what's old boy to play Batman just came out with the movie about Dick Cheney. Christian Bale came out with a movie about Dick Cheney. It's not a lighthearted comedy, but it's kind of a comedy. So you're really taking a comedic stance against somebody who helped almost bring our economy in the government to our economy for the most part to a halt. But it's this lighthearted approach to it. And so I laughed at it, but then I'm like, we're getting to that dangerous area where a lot of people who we know and fuck with and work with are going to get a pass on electing this motherfucker to be the president. Because it's going to be all fun and games, and I bet you 15 years from now, you won't be able to find a motherfucker who says they voted for Trump. It's gonna be a comedy show.
So it's all fun and games now.
Well, it's fun and games. Well, the thing is, it was fun and games in the beginning when
nobody thought he was going to get elected.
No one thought he was going to get elected, and we thought we're all brown people on the show thought everyone was going to go out and do the due diligence. Sure, white men were going to go out there and vote for a white man, but everyone was going to go out and do the due diligence and not let him be voted for. And then, now he's president. So we were supposed to buy into him. He's a businessman. He's gonna wake up the economy and all this other shit like that. Even though there's a history of him having failed businesses, filed for bankruptcy numerous times.
The economy was already growing on its own before he got in office. But nobody likes to talk about that.
And let's not forget though. Until he had that show with the you're fired shit, whatever the fuck.
The Apprentice.
Yeah, The Apprentice. Thank you, James. He wasn't doing that well.
No.
He wasn't doing that well, dog. But now all of a sudden, revisionist history has us believe he was this great businessman. It's going to be the same revisionist history that's going to allow motherfuckers to fucking escape the bus and say, I never voted for that motherfucker. I'm like, wait a minute, nigga. Somebody had to.
Right. Nobody voted for him.
Nobody voted for him?
Right. Don't none of y'all know nothing?
I mean, Hillary only won a little bit above 50%. So somebody in here lying.
Right.
I mean, as far as popular vote.
Popular vote, right.
Yeah,
like,
Hillary only won slightly above 50%. So somebody in this motherfucking line.
Who are those other votes?
And if white men voted at a rate of plus 70%, and white women voted at a rate above 58% or 52%, 52%, 58%. I can't remember the number. Somebody in this motherfucker's line. But that's what's going to happen, bro. You're going to go to work 10 years from now, and everyone's going to claim they never voted for Trump. And you know what? It's all going to be this fucking mask of comedy. It's like it's not the same thing, but kind of the same thing. Like the thing that made Dave Chappelle's fucking R. Kelly skit so funny was that everyone knew it was true.
Mm-hmm.
But now everybody pretending they didn't know it was true.
And nobody know nothing.
It's gonna be that same shit though. It's gonna be that same exact shit. The thing that makes this video so funny is because everybody knows this subtle racism, all this other shit is true. But then a couple years from now, it's never gonna have happened. That's it, bro. That's all.
Yeah, for some people, it's not happening now.
It's not happening now.
Right. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He's making America great again. And you all just hate him because he's great. Facts bear out differently, but there's a lot of people now that don't like to operate in facts, especially when it doesn't match up with their world agenda.
Joe, any thoughts on that? Cultural appropriation or anything?
No, not really.
So last week, Joe, James, you weren't here last week to discuss the weatherman's comments, but you're here tonight, and we thank you for that. But we also have another one. We thought it was just a one and done, right? For those, it's not the same weatherman. It's just a different newscaster.
That's what threw me. I thought the same guy did it again. I'm like, what the hell?
No, this just to clarify, it was a different newscaster. The last one was a weatherman. His name was Jeremy Cap, I believe. Capel. Jeremy Capel was fired after apologizing. We all heard it on the last episode. If you haven't, go back and listen to the last episode and catch up. So, but this time we have an actual newscaster, the one that's presented the news in St. Louis. And unfortunately, we don't have what he actually said, but we have his apology. So here we go.
Darion, thanks. I want to take a moment to apologize. We have heard from a viewer about a mistake I made in our 5 a.m. newscast this morning. In our story about the tribute to Dr. King, I unfortunately mispronounced his name. Please know I have total respect for Dr. King, what he meant and continues to mean to our country. This was not intentional in any way, and I sincerely apologize.
He said Martin Luther King before. This
newscaster.
He said it. I'm not saying he said it on the air before. I'm just saying in his everyday life, he has said Martin Luther King because that's the only way it slips out like that. That's just my opinion.
So
I don't see it any other way.
So you weren't here before. So did you? If you listened to the last episode, or if you listened to the clip of the upstate New York weatherman, he called it a flub. So how would you think about that one then? How would you refer to that one as?
That's the same thing. It may be a flub, but you have that's in your mind.
Your everyday vocabulary.
That's a term that you've used on a regular basis. Because otherwise, why would it come out? How does it? Coon and King, they don't sound like each other. How do you slip up like that?
Right. It's like a regular vocabulary of a term of vocabulary.
And especially since you know the derogatory, history that the word coon has in relation to black people. We all know it. These are older gentlemen. These aren't kids that might not know what that is, that might be uninformed. These are guys, both these guys seem like they're at least in their 40s or something like that. They're well aware of what the word coon means in relation to black people. So somewhere in their personal life, they made jokes about Martin Luther Coon, thinking it was funny, and when they did the broadcast, it slipped out because it's already part of their verbiage in their mind.
So what do you think about their apology then?
The apology is bullshit. He's saying it because he wants to keep his job and not become some kind of social pariah.
So to James, they didn't necessarily, even though they're calling it a mistake themselves, to you in your mind, how you interpret it, it wasn't a mistake. It couldn't possibly be a mistake. And you're not accepting their apology.
What I'm saying is that, yes, it might have been a mistake that he said it on the air, but the fact that he's like, I've never used that word. It's not part of my everyday language. I don't believe that part. I think it is. I think it says something about you inherently, in your how you think.
Okay, Roger.
And maybe I'm wrong, but that's just the way I view it.
I think you got valid points, Roger.
Like we talked about on the last show, I forget you had I think Joe had a good example of how it could happen as far as like King and Junior, whatever. I don't know, but I can't remember exactly what he said. But this is the second week, and this guy saying the same thing at the same point in time. It's kind of like, the white newscasters getting together right around before the King holiday.
That throws me too.
Strike.
That it's like within a week or whatever.
Less than a week. Less
than a week. The same thing happens. That's kind of mind blowing, actually.
So what do you think about the apology? Because I know you were here last time, Roger, to discuss the weatherman. So what do you think about this apology?
It's like, I don't know, like, because it's the second time, and like,
but
less
different
than a
people,
week, I guess 2 weeks, really.
Different people.
Huh?
Different people. We gotta separate the two.
Right, but I'm saying I can't separate two when it's the same fucking mistake by people in the same profession. I can't exclude that knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's a good point.
And I think I see what you're saying. Like, I'm sure that who's this guy? Steincross that did the second time.
Right. Well, no, his
first
time.
You can't tell me that he wasn't aware of the flub that the other guy made a few days ago. You can't tell me he didn't know about that. And then he goes and does the same thing come on, man.
This situation is a little bit different than the other one for that reason.
Go ahead, Joe.
One, we could hear, we could actually hear the flub. It was made public what happened on the other one, and for right or wrong, and when he said that it was not authentic, that it was an accident, he had some backing from some powerful people, including King's daughter. This dude, like, if you are in the profession, you ought to know that this happened the previous week, and so you should be extra careful in your enunciation.
Yes,
it's very clear, and maybe that's the case with this other dude too. Now, he may not go around making a habit, but he's been around people. If he hasn't said it himself, he's been around people where that was a joke, and so we know the history of St. Louis when it comes to Ferguson and all the problems they've had over there. I put it this way: you can fool me once, that's fine, but you can't fool me twice, man. This dude right here, if he gets away with it when the other dude couldn't, then there's really something wrong, man. I think if you set the precedent with getting rid of one dude and firing him, you go ahead and let this guy go too.
I think he's. I don't think he's getting fired.
I know. Yeah, he needs to be.
Said it was an enforcement mistake, and the station will not take any additional disciplinary measures against him. Yeah, so he's gonna escape.
Yeah. So I mean, the other dude. I mean, like I said, I could actually hear the flub. They won't even publish this one.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it. When I heard it, it sounded like he just kind of stuttered. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The way they wrote it here in the article, it just said Martin Luther King Jr. It didn't look like, we couldn't hear it to see if there was any kind of reflection on that. You know what I'm saying? But the key thing, as you said, is it just happened like
Right.
less than a week ago. You have to be cognizant of that.
Uh-huh.
Nah, he need to go too.
So
And it's a lesson we go, and you know that somewhere in your broadcast you're going to have to say Martin Luther King because the holiday's coming up. So it's gonna come up for you to say his name, and you still
So Joe,
do this?
So
Come
Joe,
on.
I would say this. That's a good point, James. That's a good point. So I'll say this, Joe. So is it easier? Is it harder? Is it more difficult to give him this one a pass than it was the other one? Because the other one, at least to you, you felt like, hey, it really was a flub. I'll give you a pass. But when you say
I heard it.
Right, that's true.
Number two, that was the initial one. It set a precedent. It was. So when that came out, it was not in the national conscious. If you are in the industry and you have heard about a man getting fired for a flub on the air, it was on CNN. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason why you should not be aware of that situation and be extra careful, especially as James said with the holiday coming up. And know, and if you say in your apology you understand the impact, you also ought to understand the fire and fury that will come your way when you act in a substandard manner towards that man. So it's to me, I put it this way: I'm not saying the first dude should got fired, but he got fired. This dude need to get fired too.
The second guy, I agree. The second guy, Steincross here, he definitely needs to get fired.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not trying to play devil's advocate or anything like that. I'm just trying to look at the
you're probably about to though.
No, I'm just trying to look at the two dynamics. That one, how Joe said is, we actually had the audio to actually scrutinize that audio. In this case, we don't. So you have to kind of play that and say, like, was it really that bad? I mean, it must have been that bad for them not to release the audio yet. And also, another point that Joe and I think James brought up too is this was a nationally televised news segment. It was, because CNN played it, and probably other local stations picked it up because of that. So you had to have known. At least, hopefully, we like to think that you would be informed, especially if
he
you're
knew. That's what I'm saying. I'm not buying that he didn't know.
Okay. I mean,
if
and that's fair.
To tell
that's
me that,
fair.
I know he's lying in.
That's fair. My opinion on this would be is this again. Going back to what you said. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Even though these are two separate individuals, in a time span of like less than a week, and you both are in the news industry and the news cycle, whether you get briefed on it or not, you should be. This popped on everybody's timelines on all social media platforms. So, especially with the holiday coming up, and there's always seems to be some type of story like this. So yeah, it's harder for me to give you a pass on the second one. If the first one got fired, so should the second one. I mean, that's my last remarks about it. Anybody else? Last ones before we move to the next topic?
No, that's what I said, man. Yeah, it's just, definitely the second dude. There's something going on.
All right, so we go on to our next topic, and this is probably going to hit closer to home to one of us than to many of us. And it happened to be, I think one of you shared, I forget who shared it. There was basically the headline was that GM, there was a whites only signs hung at a GM plant, attention grabber. I don't know out of you guys that shared this one, but I'm gonna play this little clip from CNN. I'm not gonna play it all. It's a 6-minute clip, but I'll share it on the nose. But I want to hear these young or these men be interviewed. I want to see what they have to say for themselves. It's only fair to get there's audio, so it's them speaking.
My mom washes the dishes.
Not that white girl. Not that white girl. So, not her. Okay. So we'll have to wait for these YouTube commercial or whatever the hell they are.
A dozen black employees at a GM plant say they are facing racist threats and intimidation at work. Their evidence is laid out in pictures of nooses, whites-only signs, and the N-word they say showed up inside the plant. While GM says it takes discrimination and intimidation seriously and is doing all it can to get rid of the problem, a state law enforcement agency ruled it isn't doing enough. CNN's Sarah Seidner has a story, and I have to warn you, okay? You will hear racial epithets and disturbing language in this story.
Every day he walked into work, Marcus Boyd prayed he'd survive his shift unscathed.
I felt like I was at war, risking my life every day.
Derek Brooks, a former Marine, worked in the same place. Both were supervisors on different shifts at the General Motors transmission plant in Toledo, Ohio. Brooks considers himself tough from his military training, but he struggled to handle what was happening at work.
How rough and tough can you be when you got 11 or 12 people who want to put a noose around your neck and hang you till you're dead?
There's a reason he brings up nooses. It's not just a figure of speech.
This is the picture of the noose that I found the night that I was at work on my shift.
According to a lawsuit now pending against GM, this is one of at least 5 nooses discovered at their workplace in separate incidents. The suit also claims there were signs that blacks were not welcome there. Whites only scrawled on a bathroom wall, along with swastikas on bathroom stalls and niggers not allowed scratched or written on bathroom walls.
This was saying, you don't belong here. This was saying, if you stay here, this is what could possibly happen to you.
In this struggling town, Brooks and Boyd didn't want to leave their 6-figure jobs. Brooks has 8 children. Boyd takes care of his mother, who was an amputee. Now, they and 7 others have sued GM for allowing an underlying atmosphere of violent racial hate and bullying. When did you notice overt racism?
Well, when an employee that was under me, he told me that back in the day, a person like me would have been buried with a shovel.
Can we pause? It's amazing to me as someone who's been in the military when. I give it a saying. You gotta pull in that. Hey, I served. I am a fucking veteran. Whatever the fuck. Blah blah blah. But as someone who served, you want me to pretend and believe there's not overt racism in the military? It's a funny thing. So we can keep playing.
Anybody else?
Nah.
Okay.
Go.
To you?
That was a death threat, and I was told to push that to the side.
Boyd says he reported the incident.
He admitted to it, and I was pulled to the side and said, if you want to build relationships here, you just let things go. He'll be all right.
But he says the threats got worse. Were you afraid for your life?
Definitely. That's why I left.
When the noose appeared in March of 2017, Derek Brooks says he reported it to upper management. He was sure he was the intended target, but says he was told to investigate by questioning his employees.
It felt like a slap in the face. It did, but I had to be professional.
Brooks and other black employees also noticed being called Dan.
I thought they just mispronounced my name for Derek. Then later I find out that Dan was an acronym for dumbass nigga.
General Motors sent us a statement insisting discrimination.
Pause it.
Well, hold on. Go ahead.
Come on, man. What year are we living in? What year are we living in? I mean, this sounds like stuff that you heard about, like pre-civil rights and that sort of thing. This is. I mean, this is outrageous to me.
I mean, no, it's outrageous, but it's basically.
It's not that I'm not. I know it's out there, but this is like serious. This is like belligerent.
Yeah, and it's not surprising with this president that motherfuckers are becoming more and more brave or braver or
It's
boy,
brazen.
whatever the
It's
fuck.
belligerent. It's brazen. It's outwardly
Brazen,
hostile. You know, I mean, you know, we're used to the subtle, passive aggressive, you know, racism, but to outwardly intimidate and threaten on the job, and just there's nothing done. And this is not some small little company either. This is a General Motors.
Like one nigga was told to go investigate it yourself.
Yourself.
Right. You want me to go find the motherfuckers that hate me? What am I supposed to do then?
I would say that the leadership culture was lacking. The culture was
lacking.
Well, it was lacking.
That's an understatement.
But
they failed.
The culture also
this is complete failure.
Yeah, they failed, but also the culture was empowered because no one was pushing down on them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
exactly.
there was no
there's no action, there's no pushback from upper management to control the environment and to correct the problem and to remove the individuals doing it. So it just not only does it continue, it escalates, which does sound like it happened here.
But you breathe this fucking environment where everyone says it's okay.
And I will say this, even in my own place of employment, we have diversity training and all this stuff, getting to know each other and all our different cultural awareness stuff too, training. And even then, like our office has their own quote unquote. You don't speak about these unspoken terms of like this is how we do it. You know what I mean? But we can't come out and say this is how things are done while we're in power. So. I mean, even for an organization like mine that receives a legit training on it, they still refuse to ignore that and they just follow whatever the hell they want to follow. So this sucks though. I mean, unfortunately, I'll keep playing some of it and get some more reaction from you guys.
Okay.
And harassment are not acceptable and in stark contrast to how they expect people to show up at work. We treat any reported incident with sensitivity and urgency and are committed to providing an environment that is safe, open, and inclusive. And that every day, everyone at General Motors is expected to uphold the values that are an integral part of its culture. But according to more than half dozen current and former black employees, the problem is the culture. They say inside this plant, racism and harassment are the norm, not the exception.
It is a culture.
It's a culture.
Yeah.
You have to, it's from the top down and the bottom up.
One employee filed a police report. Others filed complaints with the Ohio Civil Rights Commission prior to filing suit.
The ultimate decision that was made is that GM did allow a racially hostile environment.
They allege they investigated quickly and have done remedial things to take care of the problem.
The commission disagrees with that position. GM did not do very much at all, or what they did do was not effective.
GM says that they held mandatory meetings and even closed the plant for a day for training and to address the issue with every shift. The Civil Rights Commission report noted a former union president's testimony that during one of those meetings, a white supervisor said too big of a deal was being made of the nooses. After all, there was never a black person who was lynched that didn't deserve it.
Whoa, I missed that. Whoa. Wait a minute. That's the union.
Hold on, James. Damn it. God damn it. Hold on, James.
Shots fired!
Nigga, really?
I'm going to edit it, so go ahead, James.
James,
I'm kind of stuck right now because that was outlandish. I mean,
what part?
That's supposed to, that's coming from the union president or whatever that's supposed to be protecting the worker, saying that no black person ever got lynched that didn't deserve it. Come on, man. Burn that place down, man.
Whoa, is that what she said?
Yeah, that's what I was tripping off of.
All right, here we go. Let me replay it again. Let me replay it again.
Go. Go back.
I'm going.
They put it
issue
on the
with every
screen.
shift.
Yeah, here we
The
go.
Civil Rights Commission report noted a
said-
former union president's testimony that
Unless
during one
did
of
I
those meetings,
misinterpret this?
I think you took it. She said something outlandish. I think you took it to another level.
All right,
She said no. I think she said that nobody had been lynched. You said
No, they didn't deserve it. No, it was there.
Play it, Frank.
Let's find out.
union president's testimony that during one of those meetings, a white supervisor said too big of a deal was being made of the nooses. After all, there was never a black person who was lynched that didn't deserve it. The lawsuit alleges that.
I like what? Yeah.
Okay, I stand corrected. I'll be wrong on that one.
That's why I'm tripping.
Yeah,
Go ahead, James.
Hey, I already said it. Burn it down. They can't save that. That's a cesspool of racism.
They need to gut that whole organization.
That whole the management, the whoever deploys at a tripping, the union rep, the union president, they all gotta go.
So this is a 2017. Well, this is a 2018 reporting of a 2017 story. So I wonder if this plant's still open now. I think this is one of the plants that closed in Ohio.
I don't know if it's closed yet.
Or that it's closing, maybe.
It might be.
Okay. Because I don't think there's that many plants in Ohio. I wouldn't think.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll continue.
Didn't deserve it. The lawsuit alleges that supervisor was never disciplined.
General Motors is supposed to stand for something, right? That's the great American company. Well, what are you doing about this?
Well, where's America, nigga?
GM.
What were you saying?
No, I'm saying like when I hear people, like especially black folks say that shit, this great American company, it's like, but what's America?
Right.
No, don't get me wrong. America
That
is
was-
a great
that's-
bastion of hope, but not for niggas.
Yeah, that's powerful. I just got it too.
Well, I mean, I put it this way: in the ideology, it should be. In the practice and the history, no, it has not been. But I'm saying to you, it should always be striving towards better.
No, I feel you, Joe. It should be, but if you a nigga that's over the age of 30, you should know that's not how it's set up to be. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but you hope against hope.
No, I got hope. I got hope, but the niggas back in 2000 and when they elected fucking the Tangerine Orange man, my hope got pissed on again.
Go ahead, Frank.
Representative that we spoke to says that they have not identified those who put up the nooses, and therefore no one has been fired for those incidents. They said, however, that some people have been dismissed in that Toledo plant during what it's calling its extensive anti-discrimination and anti-harassment work, and that work continues today. But Don, guess what else continues?
Yeah.
The racist threats. Just today, we received a picture from inside of the plant sent to an attorney that mentions hanging people. There have been other threats against those who have spoken out, black workers there, threats directed directly at them, and they are now in fear and would not go on camera because they were in fear for speaking out again in case more threats came their way as they're going through this process, Don.
You told us, Sarah, what GM said. What about the union?
So we did speak to a UAW representative, and he said, look, he'd been there for 34 years. There could be some, what he said, bad actors that work there, but he didn't believe that there was widespread intentional racism. Now, he said something very interesting. He says, do I believe that people are a little too sensitive in this day and age? Yes, but you can't say the same things you used to say 20 years ago that you can say now. That is the problem that these workers are talking about. Being called sensitive when they're facing these really extreme racial epithets, really extreme behavior, and they're being told to suck it up and get along.
Come on, man.
All right, I know everybody's gonna have
nooses and whites only, and all only niggas that get hung are the ones that deserve it.
But not just that.
That's being too sensitive because you're.
But that's the union.
When was that? That hadn't been acceptable in the last 20 years, has it?
That's what the union rep said. The union rep said that he doesn't believe that everybody has experienced that. There's a few bad actors.
You know that unions have for a long time excluded black people. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
they have a long history of doing that. And I don't know how long it goes back to where, they may have merged some of these unions, but there's a lot of things. I'm in a black fraternity. The reason I'm in a black fraternity is because whites wouldn't allow blacks to be in their fraternity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Same thing could go for the Masons. They have different Masonic halls based on white people wouldn't allow them into their situation. So I mean, the same thing is the same for trade unions. And I don't know how old this dude or woman is that said these type of things, or whoever said that. But I mean, I think these are people who are probably poorly educated. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why they work in a certain job, because they choose to go into higher education and explore certain avenues that expose them to other people and other ideas. They've been content to stay within their own little worlds and haven't been challenged. And so I mean, I think it's time for somebody to step inside and challenge them. I mean, I don't know, is the EEOC involved in this situation? Somebody needs to clear that whole plan out.
Well,
maybe the whole company.
Yeah, and I think like I said, that story was updated on January 17, 2019.
Yeah, that's this year.
So that last reporting was more recent.
That was current.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I work for an organization, a federal organization, that we receive all these type of trainings. You know what you have to say. You know, to change the culture. There's different genders. Not different genders, but there's. Well, in this case, however they
the training, I've been through all that training shit, man. Most of that shit is weak and it's bullshit.
You just check it off,
and it's just something to say that we did it.
Yeah, and then for them to use it against us.
Until people actually face real consequences for their actions, nothing changes. Nothing changes until they feel it. You got to make people feel it before they change their behavior.
Right.
Yeah. There's no real consequence right now.
There's no consequence, so they're just gonna keep doing it.
I really found it real disappointing as a union member myself that a union representative would say those kind of words. Like, how are you gonna put the people that are paying you?
Come on, bro.
I know. I'm saying though, I get. Joe mentioned that there was some of these unions merged, and some of these unions, or all these unions, didn't let blacks in or people of color in. So and they did merge, so that culture was still going around.
When I had the gig with the it wasn't the IRS, but I was charged with defending an IRS building, the big building. Well, I seen you down there once upon when I had my little security job. And so basically, it was a union gig, but basically it was a contract gig with the federal government to defend, to provide security with all these fucking federal buildings in Kansas City. Hey, man, it wasn't a nigga in our home office. Not one. And then there was maybe 2 or 3 black dudes. You talk about, there ain't all these small little federal buildings in Kansas City. It's the Midwest, so we got a few federal facilities. You talk about Social Security, you got the caves, you got the IRS building, you got the courthouse.
Yeah, we used to call the IRS building the plantation.
Yeah, we got all that shit. So, the job you was looking at, Frank, the Department of Transportation, all these motherfucking buildings up there, we had maybe 2 black guys who were on our fucking union board or whatever the fuck.
Right.
So you got a union board, got 2 black guys, and as far as management, nobody of color.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first got there, people would say no, this ain't a little something salt to me. But of course, me being the crazy nigga that I am, I just be like, let's talk about that, pimp. How you want this to go? You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So yeah, it's not surprising to me.
When you were guarding out there.
Huh?
I forgot about that when you were guarding out there.
I said, all right, yeah. I saw. I mean.
Yeah, I was working. That was a long time ago, brother. That's why,
Yeah, it was a long time ago, and I always laugh because they're like, I'm supposed to defend this big ass federal building, cutting all these checks with this motherfucking 38. That's what we doing right now.
Because you had the Barney Fife.
Nigga, I had the Barney Fife, nigga.
I forgot about that. You had the Barney Fife pistol with the bullet in your pocket.
I got 6 of them, nigga.
That's right.
Yeah, I got the little speed loaders too.
Hey, we talking about when that was like mid 2000s or something like that.
That was 2006 or 7.
Yeah,
it was after I got back from Iraq the first time.
Right. That's probably like 2006, 2007 somewhere.
Remember, I came back. I worked at Cred for a minute, and then I left.
Yeah, I was gone by then.
Yeah. So like, nigga, it's like I'm supposed to defend this big ass federal structure that everybody know where they cut the motherfucking check with a 38. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, we just reminisce for a second.
My bad.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. But racism abounds everywhere, my nigga.
Yeah.
No.
As a matter of fact, but what I'm trying to say is like, so like, the other half of that is at that particular building where we had maybe one black person who was that represented us as far as our union. At that particular building, it had to be at least like 60 to 70% black guards there that were.
That's what I was gonna say. There was a lot of black guards.
It was 60 to 70 at that particular building. 67% of the guards were black. And if you ever been, and I'm trying to get the number of guards we had. So we had 3 shifts. I feel you. We had 3 shifts, and so we had to at least have at minimum at least 30 guards there at one particular point in time during the day. Of that 60% of those 30, 60 to 70% were black people, but we only had one black representative as far as our fucking union in that whole region.
Damn.
You understand? That was in one building. That was the biggest building that we held down. You got the federal courthouse, Department of Transportation, all the Social Security buildings, we had the in the caves out in Independence where they have all the fucking files saved at. We did security there. So you got all these structures where we're providing security for. I think there might have been 1 or 2 maybe niggas that in this region that were our representatives.
That might be able to relate to you and what you were going through as a black man.
But we all seem to know that once niggas get in that upper echelon, that they stop giving a fuck. We see that too.
Yeah, the situation is very unfortunate there.
Yeah. So let's move on. Let's move on.
Yeah, it's unfortunate what happened to those gentlemen, and hopefully they get something resolved in their favor. So,
yeah.
Joe, any last thoughts on that before we move on?
No, they just need to clear that place out. That's a toxic work environment.
Burn it down.
That's what I'm talking about. Burn it.
Show title.
Damn.
Show title. Anyhow. All right, so we go on to our sports. We're going to hit up on unboxing. I'm not very astute to the world of boxing, but we are fortunate to have 2 connoisseurs of boxing. They will check us all the time on that shit. Put our stats, anything. But we'll play. So we have a pay-per-view bout with Adrian Broner and Manny Pacquiao.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so we have the latest soundbite of Adrian Broner. And I will play this as soon as it lets me play it.
And a win would mean so much.
Sorry, my bad. Go ahead, Joe. You want to set it up?
Just to set it up, it's basically you got Albert Bernstein, who is a widely known boxing commentator, and so he is interviewing Adrian Broner at one of their pre-fight type of press conferences, and Broner's having none of it. So, play the clip.
To you. Explain a little bit on how it is turning the page for you.
I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. I don't fuck with you, bro. I don't fuck with you. You be talking too much shit about me on Twitter, bro. And I'm gonna let you get
me?
Yeah, you bitch ass nigga. I'm gonna let you know. And I'm just being real, bro. Like I just already feel like you against me. So
I'm not against anybody, but this isn't about me. It's about you.
I'd rather Roy Jones or Stephen A. Smith ask me some questions. I don't fuck with you.
Okay, that's fine. So, Adrian, we'll go to some.
Joe?
But you didn't pay the whole thing, though.
Oh, my bad.
To your trainer, Kevin Cunningham. Kevin, you talked about the
It's gang. If I don't fuck with you, they don't fuck with you.
Well, I think it's their choice, isn't it?
Man, gang. You know what that means? Gang. Take the L out of the lover. It's over, brother.
Well, Kevin, what do you say to all this? He's done. All right.
Yo, I know you guys are going to clown Adrian Broner as a boxer, but I just as a fan right now, somebody that's going to watch this for free on Stream Smart, hey, I got to love it, though. Especially his homeboys.
I'm not a fan of none of these niggas.
That's their ride or die, dog. They were on point.
Huh?
They were on point.
I guess. I don't know if he was on point. I like.
No, I'm saying him. I'm talking about his homeboys. If you say I ain't fuck with you, then
right.
they ain't fucking with you.
That's what I'm saying. I like the video. It's like if we go somewhere and James says I don't fuck with that nigga, I'm like we don't fuck with that nigga.
Right.
I like that. The fact. I mean, then like when James came in with his agenda. I'm joking. I'm joking.
So you hear before
Al Bernstein was criticizing him is probably for a good reason because Adrian Broner.
I'm not even getting into all that. I'll let y'all talk about that. I'll shut up and let you and.
So he wanted to show out and whatever, but
James, I just said I understand that, but I like the fucking idea of if my niggas don't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you.
And if I don't fuck with you, they don't fuck with you. He reinstated
like that, but like, and I admit it to you, I'm not a boxing fan. I'm just not.
Yeah, but okay, so that's the non-boxing commentator. So here we are. Let's get the boxing perspective. We got between Joe and James. This is the boxing segment. Go. Ding, 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 ding.
Broner is funny. But that's about it. Broner wants to be Mayweather. He's not.
No.
He has the same promotion team. So he does his best to pretend he is, but he doesn't have Mayweather's heart nor skill. So he wants to be associated with that level of skill, and so he feels like he can talk to people the way that maybe a Mayweather would, And so he's just not big enough in the game to be talking to people like that.
Especially Al Bernstein. I mean, Al Bernstein, his reputation is well established.
Who is Al Bernstein though? For the people like myself who don't know,
is a boxing commentator. I mean, he's been like one of the top boxing commentators for at least
Showtime. Yeah,
40 years probably.
He's been there for a long time.
He's been one of the premier, on Showtime, on ESPN, on when USA fights used to come on Tuesdays or Fridays or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's Al Bernstein's been there, and he's respected for his commentary and his opinion. So it was
and that's what their job is to do. They're there to evaluate what's going on and make comment on it and let the public know what the trained eye sees about certain people. And so Broner feeling some type of way about a nigga telling
the truth. Well, probably. I've read the Twitter remarks he made.
As someone who's not I don't watch the boxing, but isn't it up to, like you said, Broner doesn't have the same promotion team that Mayweather has. He wants to be Mayweather. So isn't this him just doing his best as a half-ass Mayweather?
He's a half-ass Mayweather at best.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's what he's doing, right?
The difference is that Mayweather talks trash, but Mayweather puts in the back it up. He puts in the work and training.
Yeah.
No,
so
I get that. I mean, I know.
Broner don't do that. Broner comes in out of shade. They talk about how tough he is to train and all that sort of thing.
No.
So don't do all that. Come in, fight half-ass.
No, but
get your ass whooped.
I get that.
So Mayweather walks the walk and talks the talk.
But I get what I'm saying. What James is saying. Once you brought that up, I went back and looked at some of the shit. I'm like, yeah, okay. But I'm saying as he's doing his best Mayweather impersonation as he can. That's what I'm saying.
But do you have to be Mayweather?
He's doing a Mayweather press conference. It's
right.
impersonation. He's not doing his best Mayweather in the ring impersonation.
In the
He's
ring,
better
right.
at that.
And that's why I made the statement about style over substance.
Right.
And even his style ain't that great.
Right.
My
I like the statement because I've been in work with many a motherfucker who I have learned has said some sorry shit about me, and I'm just like, I don't fuck with you, dog. I know what you said. It got to me. And that's all I was saying. But I like, once again, I defer to you and Joe, and also Frank, because all three of y'all watch boxing more than me.
Not like these guys. They
even you watch boxing more than me, Frank. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah. Roger, if somebody said something about you, and you was big, like they said you ain't shit, but you know that you wasn't shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know he wasn't shit.
Roger, hold on. Roger, hold on.
Roger ain't shit.
This is Chiefs Talks. Go.
I don't know who's starting though. Yeah. So we I don't know who started. I guess I'll start.
I'll say this.
Yeah, go
the
ahead.
Chiefs won last week. They're hosting the AFC
Chiefs won last week in a game we were supposed to win, but now we're rolling to a game.
What about that
Vegas
defense though?
Vegas has us picked to beat the Patriots. But if anyone saw the Patriots game from last week, you might be a little scared.
Yeah. The Patriots basically last week played a damn near perfect game. And that's not really something you want to see, right before they come to your town.
Right.
And it's not just that particular game, it's the reputation of, this is what, the 8th AFC championship in a row for the Patriots.
Yeah.
So,
and let's not forget that the Chargers going into that previous week may have had the number 1 or number 2 defense as far as the 8 teams playing. Let's not forget that either. So they didn't go against no slouch ass defense.
No, it was good defense.
Yeah.
And they destroyed it.
And they destroyed them.
Yeah. I got to put part of that on the strategy too.
Yeah, the hood. No one wants to see the hoodie and Tom Brady in January, bro. Nobody.
But if you have to see them, you want to see them at your house, and when you have drafted the best quarterback that this league has seen in probably 25 years.
Sir,
I feel you, James. But last week was it the best quarterback or the defense that won out?
What, last week?
Last week.
I'm talking big picture.
No. I said last week,
talking
bro.
Big picture.
Last week.
Big picture.
I asked a simple question. Last week, who won out?
The Chiefs won last week. Yeah, I know they won.
Defense?
The defense didn't win the game. The offense didn't. The defense
scored.
The defense scored.
You wild, dog.
Defense didn't score any points. The offense scored those 31 points.
The man who has the second most touchdowns in the NFL to your quarterback scored 13 points.
13 points.
Who?
Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck, dog. Because James wants us to believe that the fucking the Colts was this shit ass offense prior to this week.
That I did not say. I said the team overall was mediocre.
Is that why you laughing?
Does somebody got receipts?
You know what? No, we won't do receipts. We won't the chat group. We won't do that.
James, you want to step away now?
Hey. My whole point, I'm gonna say this one last time about this damn defense. Yeah, they've been good the last 2 weeks, but they've sucked the other 15.
They are the number 6. They are the number 6 scoring defense.
Suck the other 15. I don't care what nobody says.
Hey, James,
I'm glad they're playing good now.
That's more than act
like these fools is all of a sudden 85 Bears, and they are not. They not even.
Nobody said they're 85 Bears, nigga. Ain't nobody in this motherfucking discussion said that shit.
Shit.
You're like an old. I forget you are an old black man.
I am an old black man.
So James, just to clarify, are you saying that the defense sucks or the whole team sucks?
The defense sucks. They do suck.
But they won the last game though.
Come on, dog.
No, they didn't win. The offense won the game.
How so?
Nigga, no. They
Mahomes-
held Andrew Luck to a touchdown, nigga.
Man, the sun even
Mahomes had
shines on
no.
a dog's ass once in a while.
Mahomes had no touchdowns. So.
Everybody get lucky.
In a game
Everybody
where
get
Patrick
lucky.
Mahomes did not throw a touchdown.
Right.
Didn't have to.
Because the defense did what?
No, because they ran the ball.
You can't have it both ways, James.
He did score a touchdown though, didn't he? Did he not?
He didn't throw. He didn't throw.
He scored. It don't matter. It's still 6.
He didn't throw.
It's 6.
No, so now all of a sudden,
Whether he runs it in the end zone
in a
or he
game-
goes with someone in the end zone,
in a game
it's
when you
still-
said
it's
Patrick
still a
Mahomes
touchdown.
has to be perfect.
If
On
the-
record, not fuck our chat group. On Facebook, you said Patrick
what?
Mahomes has to be perfect for this game, and he wasn't, and they won. Because of why? The defense.
Hold on.
Lucky and finally played
No.
decent.
Not they. That's more than luck, man. Luck didn't have a first down until what? Like the 2-minute drive of first half. That ain't luck, man.
But hold on, Joe. Never forget they held Luck to a touchdown.
And y'all talk
touchdown.
about like this dude is damn Joe Montana son.
Like he didn't have 38 touchdowns.
Oh, Luck. Oh, all of a sudden Luck is trash.
He ain't great.
No. I said all of a sudden Luck is trash, nigga. Don't replace.
I didn't say it was trash, but he ain't great either.
It's a yes or no question, dog. Is he trash?
He had a bad day.
Oh, he had a bad day.
Just picked the wrong day to have it.
Go to bed, James.
It
Go to bed.
didn't have nothing to do with the
have.
team he was playing.
Not really.
Yeah, sure, man. Anyway, the defense all year has, to me, has not added up to the sum of its parts.
Has been lacking.
But no, hear what I'm saying. There's a difference. I'm not saying that they're lacking. I'm saying to you that the parts that they have on this defense have added up to more than their actual production has been. I'm saying to you, you've had 3 excellent pass rushers on this defense. It should calculate to a better season than the defense has had.
But you have 3 pass rushers where you can't trust a cornerback to cover more than 3 seconds. That's the problem.
Right. So in my experience, when you've had good pass rushes, that makes
Middle linebackers have been lacking all year too.
That too.
You know, I put it this way. I thought that for a long time, and they did. But I tell you what, the middle linebacker, I don't even remember his name, but he's among probably top 10 in the league in tackles.
Yeah, but when is he making those tackles?
I agree. I'm not saying
if he's making the tackle 15 yards downfield,
I'm
it
not
doesn't do
saying
much
that
for him.
that's right or wrong. I'm just saying to you, the stats say that he is making tackles.
They don't fill those holes like they're supposed to.
So what I'm saying is the sum of the parts is less than, or what it should be. The defense's production has not matched that, except when at home.
Yep.
When at home, they have been the number 6 scoring defense at home in the league this year. They are a much different team at home than they are on the road. Same thing with the Patriots, man. They've been thought to be this dynamic.
Wait a minute.
offense
What
at
was
home.
that stat you put up about? But against playoff caliber teams, they've given up like an average of like 25, 26 points a game.
And they score like 26 a point a
No,
game.
still, that's not good.
But let's
Giving up.
what's the
league
average though as far as
not
points
good.
scored?
That is not a good number.
But what's the
Dude,
league
you
average
talking
as far as points
hold
scored?
on. That was against 2 teams, and we didn't add in the Colts score. So when you add the Colts in there, that was a much reduced number.
I'm talking about regular season, man.
Now we're talking about regular
what's
season.
the league
We
average
in
for
the
points
playoffs,
scored
ain't
though?
I just said that they got lucky on Sunday and they played above their head. Okay.
Right. They got luck. They got luck on the ground several times.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know.
Hey, this
man.
is Roger's fault. He started it.
I started what, nigga?
You did start this shit. We could have went to this week's game, but you wanted to try to start some shit, and you got it.
No,
Nigga,
what I wanted to say
the
is
fact remains you don't give the motherfucking defense no credit, nigga.
No credit.
I give them credit. I give.
No, you don't.
When,
No,
nigga?
you don't.
Even
I
in your
give Chris Jones credit.
Nigga,
Bro,
even in your post, you be shady, nigga.
you gave Chris Jones credit. Nigga, you spent about freaking hour arguing about how this nigga had no business nowhere near a Pro Bowl.
Thank you, Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Get the fuck out of here, man.
Check your brother, nigga.
Hey, I can just see why he might not make it.
Man, get out of here, man.
You know what? Like I said, man, we've been on for a minute, so we need to start wrapping this. I gotta get out of here.
Anyway,
So here we go.
We want to get to the business of breaking down the current game. Basically, I believe that it's all about how you treat Tom Brady. If you let Tom Brady sit back there in the pocket and have lots of time to throw, he's gonna torch you. So you got to get to him, but you can't. I don't think you can't blitz him because that's gonna leave too many options for him. And he's quick enough to beat that blitz and read it. Right. So you're going to do it with like a 4-man rush. That front four has got to be the one that gets it done. They got to knock him down. They got to make him uncomfortable. They got to take him out of his rhythm because once he hits his rhythm, he just starts picking you apart. And we know that secondary can't handle that. If they can do that, because I'm not worried about the offense at all. I think they're going to do what they used to do.
And I would say what you were saying too, though, is like everyone says like Tom Brady, make him run around, pressure him in the pocket. But nigga, the hoodie dog, what they done is they revamped that offense. He's not holding that ball that long. And he's checking down. God damn, my glasses are quicker than shit. He's checking down. He's passing that ball to White.
That's true. That's
slot,
true.
And they're doing it.
And they've got to control the run game too.
Yeah, if you look at that game, dog, like Gronk. None of that deep shit.
Yeah, Gronk only had like one catch, I think.
Yeah, I'm saying all that shit was the running backs and then Tom Brady dropping that shit off like quick slants.
That's true. Because didn't White have like 13 receptions or something?
Yeah. So so everybody's saying that like we saying everybody's saying that game plan as far as like pressure Brady. But Brady and the hoodie just sat down and said, "You can't pressure me, nigga. I'm getting the ball off in 2 seconds." So that's going to be a thing. The thing is going to be, do we have cornerbacks and safeties who have not been able to show to tackle a nigga in the open field in the open, out on the corners? My bad.
Yeah, when he's getting that ball out the backfield, you got to be ready.
Yeah, that's gonna be the big thing, man. Like, because I think Tom Brady has matured and grown to the fact, like, and also the arm strength ain't there, also no more.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good point because he's not throwing the deep ball like he used to. No. That is definitely.
Yeah, anybody watched that game last week where they dismantled them niggas? They wasn't throwing no 40, 30-yard bombs.
Yeah, sure. It was a dink and dunk.
Yeah, dink and dunk, and like we already said, dog. Like Gronk, who has been their biggest producer. He may have had 1 or 2 catches.
I think he only had 1. I mean, it was like 40 yards, but it was only 1.
So this nigga's a decoy right now. So I'm going to run your safety off, your linebacker off, and I'm going to drop that bitch off to my running back and hope your little bitch-ass cornerback can make a tackle.
All right.
Also, apparently Eric Berry's coming back for this game, even though they're not saying it. But
that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not counting on Eric Berry.
The Sorensen's still out there. And the middle linebacker still out there.
But they were out. They were doing a great job last game. In the last 2 games, really, they did a better job.
Eric Berry didn't play the last game.
The defenses. I meant defense as a whole.
Yeah, but like.
All
I
right,
don't want to say this because it adds credence to fucking James's point. Even though Luck has come here and won a fucking championship, a playoff game, I don't want to add to this nigga's point. But the fact remains, Luck to me is nothing more than a younger version of Phillip Rivers.
Mm-hmm.
A nigga that got a lot of yards, can throw a lot of touchdowns, and make a lot of good passes, but ain't gonna win a big game
because he gonna give it away. He gets hyped and starts trying to throw passes he shouldn't throw.
Yeah, if you would have told me that the Chiefs offense scored under 30 points and we still won the game.
With no touchdown passes neither.
I wouldn't have believed you.
No, they scored 31, didn't they?
31, my bad. So barely, nigga.
Right, but if you were to hear passing touchdowns.
If you would show me, I should say if you would show me Mahomes' stats and told me
that he didn't actually throw any touchdowns. I get that. But that's how. But the running game was strong.
Yeah, And that Williams kid, nigga, that
Daniel
nigga ball.
Williams.
That first half. The first quarter he did good. That second quarter he was trying to do too much.
Yeah.
I think he calmed down and started just like I got to get like 4 or 5 yards, would be all right. And the running game went back because that second quarter I was worried, but then he got smart again.
And that touchdown run he had, it was like a 20-yard touchdown run where he was pow, hit your spots, let's go.
What we say? What we say in the chat group? Plant your foot, nigga. Get upfield. Stop all that dancing.
Yeah. We ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to what your outcomes are. We'll start off with James. What do you think is gonna happen come Sunday?
Sunday, I say the Chiefs win. I'm calling it 35-34. It's gonna be a nail biter.
Ooh, okay. How's that defense gonna look like to you?
They're gonna give up 34 points, so not very good.
Okay.
Against Tom Brady and the Patriots, though. So.
All right, go ahead, Joe. Joe, what do you foresee come Sunday?
The factor that I think is was a bit of a variable this week. A lot of people were concerned about the temperature, and it was supposed to be like stupid cold. Now we're starting to get a little bit of sleet and snow right now, so we may get a little bit of that, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be down in the below 10 or something like that. It should be probably below freezing maybe, but not extremely cold. So
yeah, like the 20s probably.
So with that being said, I think that plays in the Chiefs' favor because we're more of a track team, I think, than the Patriots are, and we want to get our skilled players out in a situation where they can do what they need to do and feel comfortable. I think you've heard, sub-zero temperatures or with the wind chill, I think that's going to slow them down and cause problems and maybe even turn into a ground game where I think we lose some of our advantage. So I think if the weather is not too bad, I think our offense is going to outshine, theirs, and I think we pull it out. I'm not gonna give a number on it.
Come on, play with us. Come on, just give us a number real quick.
Well, I'll put it this way:
with good weather. We
have not scored less than 26 points all season. I don't think that's gonna happen this week. So we're gonna score more than 26 points, and
how many?
Score at least one more than the Patriots.
Just give me two numbers.
Pick two numbers, man. Whatever numbers you want with the Chiefs on that on top. Over 26, man.
All right, Roger. What's your outcome?
I'm gonna say 45-41 Chiefs.
All right, and then I'm gonna go 28-19 in favor of the Chiefs.
19. You think they're gonna kick 9 field goals or something?
No, I think they're gonna score a touchdown and then kick 4.
They get a safety or something with it. 19.
They're gonna get a touchdown, and then they're gonna go with 4 field goals.
Okay. Fine.
So that's 4 possessions that you score out of like the 10.
I mean, I get it. It's just an odd number.
And I.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I think we got it. Yeah.
All right. Wrap it up. Let's go, B.
Let's wrap it up.
Wrap it up, B.
Wrap it up, B. Yay! All right, yeah, man. So whatever, man. Nigga Rockin' Podcast. Thank everybody. Go around the horn. Any last words, any last sayings, any last quotes, any last bits of wisdom from the I guess Anthony's not here, so it'll be the square table of the Nigga Rockin' Podcast.
Okay. Anybody? You know what? This is another odd one, but we made it. But we made it through somehow. And it's always a good time, even when it's strange. But Frank definitely has to do the sound effects. I don't know what we got to do to shut that down.
Yeah.
How we need to hack his system to take that away, but it must be done. And I'm done. Good night.
What about you, Joe?
Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. Frank.
Me, I want to apologize to all the listeners for the earlier audio stuff. we're here. We're in Topeka. Here in Topeka, we got like 4 inches already of snow. So,
but you're not gonna apologize for those bullshit.
Right, he's not apologizing for what he should be apologizing for.
Oh no, that was intentional.
Cool. Go ahead though.
All right, no, but I appreciate it, you guys hanging in there with us, and also you guys, Joe and James and Roger, just hanging in there with me, being patient, getting back on. So that's it. Go Chiefs.
Yeah. So once again, man, Nigga Round Podcast, Casey Stork live from a remote studio on the East Coast somewhere. I got the twin brothers of Doom, James and Joe, 30 Pieces AG. Thank you for your time, and as always, enjoy the
30 PSI. Enjoy the music.